Yes, the all black Genesis one piece was my signature bat when I first came back. Bat was just flat amazing. Up until present, the bats have just been top notch. They've been just at the top of the game. We brought back that one piece Genesis, and it was like a light switch went off night and day. It was such an amazing bat. Everybody jumped back on to Louisville Slugger knowing that the product they were getting were just going to be amazing, and that was the start of what we have now, which is just unreal bats.
All right, welcome to Hit and Sit Show number 42, Tuesday, September 24th. Joining me, I'm DW, by the way, conferenceuSSSA.com. Go there every day, watch the videos. I'm joined by Steve Hildebran, manager of Sonny's major team, Danny Hakker, manager of Straight Play, the 2022 A World Champs. I put that wrong in the agenda. Did you see that? And they're fourth in the points, not third. They're fourth in the points this year. And then we're joined by Joel Sanchez, shortstop of Sports Reach, swings DeMarini, and I just found out he won the USSSA co-ed and men's top division of the military worlds. Excellent job. All right. So before we get into the questions with the panel, I'm going to do a quick rundown of what we've done since the Smoky. If Bernie can share my screen. Of course, the Hit and Sit show, talk show. I like to call it a talk show, not a podcast. So we've had 8 different winners this year out of 26 conference men's teams. And we're going to run down what we've done since the Smoky. Since the Smoky, we've seen Roofx win both duels at the Evansville Major. We saw Cheap Suits knock off Bay Area Legends at the Utah Major. We saw, this is not USSSA, but we saw Rismondo cross over to the 16-inch Worlds in Chicago and win the 26-team major division of the 16-inch softball Worlds. Check out those videos on SW48 YouTube channel. Then the next week in September there, was it Labor Day? Week after Labor Day weekend, the USA softball, we saw Roofx take their entire team over to the Super and win it. They beat Monster in the finals. A depleted Rismondo team was third. And then the next day, we saw Monster win the AA division of the USA softball. And then we did have a tournament in conference in September, believe it or not. It was a rain-shortened event where Rismondo wrapped up not only the conference championship tournament, beating Straight Play in the finals, but they also wrapped up #1 seed for the major. And La Familia won the conference championship tournament on the women's side and also wrapped up the points championship over Derby girls. These were the final computer rankings. Roofx actually comes out on top of Rismondo. Both teams won 5 tournaments. All 5 of Rismondo's tournaments won were on baseball fields. You can see Roofx was 17-4 against the major division. That's what captured them the computer rankings title. Sonny's was 3rd, Straight Play 4th, and Joel, your Sports Reach team, was 7th, which is very good for a AA team. Computer rankings by class, you can pretty much see LSR with that huge early season upsets that they did actually came out on top of the computer rankings in the A division. And of course, Ely Real in the B division was the only B team with a positive computer ranking, which is very impressive for a B team. Did I skip one there? No. Okay. The point standings. Of course, the top 18 make the Major World Series. Number 17, Van Wert Frickers, did not have enough players to compete at the major, so they denied, or they did not accept the berth. That berth dropped down to NFM Lending, an A team out of Arizona is going to take the 18 seed. On the women's side, Monster La Familia wins the points over Derby Girls. Team 24 third. And then I just wanted to remind everyone the free agents page is open on conferenceussa.com. 2025 free agent pages. You can see some people have already filled out the form to be free agents in the off season. You can check that out daily to see who the new free agents are. And then we have the bracket for the Major World Series. As you can see, Resmano gets the number 1 seed. They start Wednesday night at 8. Rufex the number 2. Nitro Circus, who played a lot of tournaments, ends up with the 3 seed. Straight play an impressive 4th. Sonny's 5th, and the other major team, Juno, it winds up 7th. So an interesting bracket, but we do have 2 major teams on each side of the bracket. Which I think is good. And then you see the Thursday schedule starting at 11:30 a.m. Thursday. You got the final 8 of the winners bracket playing all the way down to the final 2, which is Friday night. And that's about it for the end of season wrap up. We'll get to the questions now with our panelists. I appreciate you guys coming in. Steve, we're going to go to you first. Steve Hildebran, manager of Sonny's. How is Sonny's looking? Do you guys have any injuries? The key question here is Bill Pinkham going to be healthy? And what do you think it will take to beat Resmano at the major? Have you guys beaten them this year?
Yeah, we have beaten them. But they beat us more than we've beat them.
Yeah.
But as far as Pinkham goes, he's been dealing with that double hernia all year. So,
yeah.
It's not going to change, until season's over with. So he's been double hernia.
Jeez.
So he's been dealing with that the whole time, but once the season's over with, he'll get it fixed. But Pinkham, he's a warrior. He's going to tough through it and everything. And he actually played this past weekend in that 40 and hit the crap out of it and gloved everything up in Las Vegas. So he said he feels like a spring chicken except for when he runs. But Yates has been banged up all year. He's had a little tweaked hamstring, but he'll be running the outfield the whole major. He said he's 100% now. That's
Yates played with Resmano at the Super, and he was running center field. I thought he looked healthy.
Yeah, well, I don't think for a minute I didn't get on his hind end for that mess. But
yeah, there's always that tension when guys go to play the Super, right? That aren't healthy 100%.
Yeah, but he assured me he was fine, and he come back, fine. So it is what it is. I still remember the year, a couple years ago when we got bumped to AA, and everybody went to go play in that A and AA, and everybody on my team got hurt, and the team that beat us for the AA won it because all my players were hurt playing with them. Yeah, go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, it's right. It's hard to keep players from playing, right, on the off weekends. Maybe you just got to join it with it. Yeah.
I never keep none of my players from playing.
Don't keep them. Yeah, there's no team orders. You're saying.
Right. But,
all right. What is it going to take to beat Resmano at the major? You're the only team that beat them last year.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to score, 7 runs an inning. I promise you that. And you're gonna have to make every play to be made. You can't miss the play, and because it's gonna cost you 5 to 7 with them every time. So to me, you just got to play lights out defense and keep the pressure on them. If you keep the pressure on, anybody can beat anybody. But if you let them just set up there and free wheel, you don't get no pressure on them, they're gonna beat you to death.
I I feel like it's going to take two teams to beat them. Like one team is not going to beat them twice. Like I think you're going to need someone to beat them, and then you guys beat them, or you guys beat them, and then someone else beats them. It's probably one of those years. But we're going to move on to Danny Hakker. We don't know much about you, Danny. What is your background in Slowpitch? What is Straight Play, the sponsor, and is that you that owns that company? And I want to know who makes the decisions over there, because I've seen you be the main manager. I've seen Cholo be the main manager. I think a JJ at some point, Schmizzy might have been running the team at one of the tournaments. So what do you think? What's your background in Slowpitch? What is Straight Play, and who's making the decisions over there? Because you guys have been doing a great job.
Thank you. So my background is I was actually just playing league night and some local tourneys, early 2010s into the mid 2010s, 2015, 2016, 2017.
In Southern California, right?
Southern California, yeah. And I had a buddy who played on my league night team. His wife or girlfriend at the time was friends with my girlfriend, and he asked me to come out on a Saturday. They had just started a SoCal USSSA team. So I went out there for a tournament or something along those lines, and ultimately saw the way it was going. And I've always been like kind of guy, like when I go into something, I want to accomplish it at the highest levels. And so I said, let's get better players, and I started sponsoring it. And then ultimately through that, I became friends with Chen Granados, who introduced me to Joey. That was in 2019. So that was my first full year. So I was running an E team, and then I was with AA Bay Area that year. We won AA that year. And then, from 2019 to present day, I went from division to division and just organically, built my teams, cut the fat more or less, replaced those guys with next level guys, and rinse, wash, repeat, all the way up. And so ultimately, here we are in AA with the same formula that we were using back in 19 from E to D. And
I don't think I realized you got a ring with Bay Area. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I came in with them mid-season. What was that, Joel?
That team was ridiculous.
Yeah, look at that roster.
McClanahan, Wilson, Marshburn, Bynum, Mullins, Pinkham.
Laser.
Who am I missing? Everybody. Laser Dave. With
Chan.
Miller. What was it, Andrew Miller on the bench? No. Which Miller?
The middle infielder.
Reno on the bench, but Chance, big part of that. Bynum.
Wow.
Marshburn was playing outfield on that team.
Yeah.
That was a great team. Danny, we want to know how Jeffrey Redden is doing. I don't know if he got injured or he had some health problems early in the season. How's he doing?
Thank you for asking. He's doing well. He's not physically where he was prior to the medical condition, but he ultimately had a stroke. They don't even really know what caused it, but he had a stroke, and man, he was in bad shape physically, and his spirits were pretty down. The guy was in tip-top shape, in the best shape of his life, and honestly, I think he was fixing to have everybody was going to know his name at the end of this year. I mean, if you look at his numbers, what he did at the duel, they were impressive, and to know the amount of work he put in the offseason and what his goals were for the year, a lot of people were laughing. And I know that boy. It wasn't funny. He had some lofty goals, and I think he was on the right foot to accomplish them. But long story long, he's doing great, and he will actually be out in Florida with us. So I'm excited to have him out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he'll be in uniform.
That's great.
Yeah. So I asked him recently where he was at. He said 70% of where he was prior to going. But it's a blessing to have him out and to have him back healthy.
Yeah, I realized Jeffrey Redden was, I think he was really fighting for his life at some point early in the season. And he had like an 80 on base percentage after those first 2 tournaments, which was awesome to see. So it'll be great to see him back out at the Worlds in a couple weeks. Joel, wanted to ask you how Sports Reach finished their season at Evansville in the conference championship. Couple of questions. Why do none of the AA teams play the USSSA Nationals? And what happened to Rich Roccabaldo, your guys' team leader? All of a sudden he's over there running bases for Roofex.
What was the first question? The conference championship?
How'd you guys do in Evansville in the conference championship?
Evansville has been really good to personally me. Like the past 3 years, I have made all conference there every single time. However, it is on my birthday, and I make that 11-hour drive with my dog to Indiana every year. And we get there, and we have a blasty blast. And so the in-laws are actually right around the corner. So it's a nice little family reunion. It's pretty good. We got 4th in the first, and like every duel, we go 4th, and then we go 0-2. It was, I'm not saying luckily the AA Worlds is not a duel, so it's one of those things where it was pretty good. Like all season long, we've been, bro, it's battling. It's nice. It doesn't matter what the score is. Everybody goes up there with the same, like, I'm not getting out. All right, so you better not either. It's awesome. The AA Nationals is tricky because, like Stevie said, that year that I went, it's that USA and that U trip. It's. I think it's just gotta be. It's just gotta be like known. You'd be like, hey, this over here, you should do it. It's a really big deal because I did it when I was in the Marine Corps in 18 and in 17. And I went there because, it was cool and then I went as a civilian in 21 and we won it. And I was like, oh, this is dope. So, like, I always try to push it. I'm down to always play. I'm not really sure. Maybe it's not enough notoriety or anything like that. But Rich Roccabaldo, bro, you're not going to hear anything bad out of me. Roccabaldo's like my favorite big brother. I feel like he's the man. He's got all 5. He can run, jump, swim, throw, catch. He can do it all. I think personally, bro, he's been in like the major, like flirting around with his major world win for so long, and he's been knocked down so many times. He was on the greatest of the greatest of the greatest Dan Smith of all time, and then he popped his bicep, and then they got 3rd. And then when he was with Pure, and he like did something there, and like, I'm not mad. I kind of begged him to come to Sports Reach because he looked at me, he's like, yo, I said yes. And I called and I said yes. And then he wasn't feeling it. And most of his boys are over there anyway. And he should be playing up anyway. And it's one of those things where like, yo, Rock going. I'm not mad at him. I don't think anybody's mad at him. Everybody knows Rich Roccabaldo, that he wants to run bases. That's hilarious. But it's like, yo, he just fits in better over there. Cashwell, McClanahan, those are all his boys over there. So it's like he should be up there anyway. Is what I think personally.
Well, hopefully he stays ready and he gets that one shot and he makes the most of it. And maybe Roofex does something special in the postseason.
That's right.
But we're going to move on to segment 3, which is our picks for the awards. The conference awards come out during the Major World Series. Each night they pause in between games and they give out some of the big awards and then the first and second team all conference. We're just going to pick some of the big ones. Of course, 2024 champions on the men's side is Rismondo, All-American Restoration, major team out of Florida. It's a good question. I should have asked Stroh before the show. Does Roofex get the conference trophy or is it Rismondo? I think it's based off of the regular season, so Roofex would get the trophy, but Rismondo won the points. We'll see what happens. There'll be some drama. 2024 women's champion Monster La Familia GTL, major team based out of Florida. We'll start with Joel. Frank Webb, manager of the year, and second team manager of the year. Who do you think would earn those First team's usually from the major division. Second team's usually from the AA or A division. What do you think?
AA, I would be like, it's a toss-up between the cats over there in straight play and Roof X, because like nobody does leaps and bounds more than them, really. You know, like everybody kind of stays pretty, or like there's people that are hot at the beginning, cold at the, like, so far every year I've heard straight play and I've heard Roof X. And then like last year, Roof X, didn't he win it last year because they won the AA? But like this year, at the beginning of the year, we were like, Resmondo by 1,000,000. And then they got 20 pieced a bunch of times in a row. And then I'm here like, but then again, it's a stadium. So then like, I'm here like, all right, let's bring it back. But I would go Roof X. I would go, what's it?
Spencer Sanchez.
Yeah.
So, and Danny for second team?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Danny, what do you got? You can vote for yourself.
Tough-ass opponent all year.
I appreciate that. Yeah, you got to like what Roof X's manager does. Like, the thing I respect about them is they really know who they are. You know, they have their identity and they beat you their way. Like, they don't try to out Resmondo. It's something I've told my guys all year. Like, when we play them, like, you're not gonna beat them in a home run derby. You're gonna, you know, you gotta beat that. You gotta have your own identity and beat them that way. And that's something I really respect, because it's not easy to do. When you get into these games and these guys are, you know, blowing them out like that, it's real easy to fall into that and try to keep up and change your swing. I mean, you see it happen all the time. I think that's why they run away from so many teams so often, because guys change their whole approach. And that's where, you know, you can't do that. You got to play your game, your style, your brand, and try to be at that. And I respect that a lot about him. So I would say I would definitely go there. But you got to respect Brett too. I mean, the amount of pressure that's on those guys, like if they lose, it's the world's coming to an end. You know, it's, you know, they're expected. I mean, to go into every single tournament with the amount of talent in these tournaments and be expected to win every single tournament. And when you don't, it's going to be all negativity coming at you. I mean, that's really, really difficult. And to manage those personalities on that roster, man, you'd be crazy not to at least have him, you know, in consideration every single year. I mean, if there's any success there, he's definitely going to be one guy that's going to get consideration of my vote.
That's right.
Yeah, for sure. Steve, you got any different picks there for first team and second team manager of the year?
Well, I mean, first, you know, to me, I'm going to give the nod to Brett, just for the simple fact is they started out the year hot, then they went through a rough time, and then there at the end, he's got them back playing where they're supposed to be playing. So, I mean, and just like he said, you know, to mesh what he's got over there, you know, he's got a bunch of people on the bench that would start for other major teams. And, you know, to keep them happy, you know, that's hard to do. It's hard to keep people happy.
Yeah.
And everything. You know, everybody knows the egos. All these guys here got egos bigger than, you know, your house. So, I mean, so it's hard. And then, you know, as far as AA, you know, Danny and I even going to give, you know, Joel's coach, you know, Haney, you know, a nod. Both them guys have done great. AA, they both beat. I think Danny, y'all beat Resmondo this year, haven't you?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, we beat him at Phoenix.
Right, and you got us at the duel, you know, and I give them two right there. They neck and neck, you know.
Yeah, I think Brett, of course, whoever wins the points kind of deserves that award. But they're going to be mad at me. I would go away from Brett, and I would say Spencer Sangster this year. He came from outside of their organization, helped them piece together a great team. Early in the season, I actually thought he was over managing a little bit, but as I watched, the team bought into his managing style. And when they go 7-0 against Resmondo, that there's some managing involved in that. And so I'm going to go with him. Second team, Danny, I think you deserve a lot of votes. And I think Mike Haney deserves a lot of votes. But Danny, I didn't see you there all year. So I'm going with Steven Robbs. Steven Robbs, I-57, top A team. They played like a AA team. Their original roster was built legit A. So I think he did a lot. He really pieced it together. And I'm going to go with Steven Robbs as the pick. We'll move on. Yeah.
And a quick mention, solely because of the difficulty. Chris Griner, like, paid, sponsored, coach, like, and all those egos on there.
Yeah.
Like, solely on that, fist bump, big ups. Like, that's
Chris deserves some votes, as well as Haney and Hakker. Chris, because he's batting second on the lineup, which is to put the lineup together before the game, tell people they're not going to play this game or whatever. Like, it's a whole nother level of stress, and then to go out and be the second batter and finish third in points. And he did a smart thing. He front loaded that schedule and got a lot of points early on, which gave them better seeds. And even when they didn't play well, they're still getting points and moving forward because of their seed. Danny, we'll start with you on the Conference Rookie of the Year, and the list was not that long. I can't even think of too many candidates. So what do you got for Rookie of the Year?
I think it's Matt Valencia has put up crazy numbers all year. And he's been consistent all year. And you could talk about like the tournaments or the competition or whatever the case, but the dude's put up monster numbers. So I think just in and of itself, it's too much to overcome. I haven't seen any other rookies that have really stood out to me that gave it a lot of competition, but that doesn't change the fact that kid's put up some crazy numbers this year.
Yeah, I feel like this is the lightest year for the rookies. Like last year, you could make a whole team. You can make a whole AA team out of the Rookie of the Year candidates last year. This year, I could only come up with two. Kyle Hancock from Bay Area Legends, and then he kind of got hurt towards the end of the year, some sort of leg injury, and he kind of tailed off. But Steve, what do you think? Have you seen any rookies out there? As a major team, you might not even know who the rookies are.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, DW. I have no clue about any rookies and everything. Yeah. But I want to bring up, where you said I-57 had a legit A roster. I had a legit A roster at one time I put together. Am I right, Joel? We didn't end up A, but it's all right.
Yeah.
But I do not know any rookies. I apologize for that because I do not know.
Yeah, Valencia hit 771 for Cheap Suits. I think he was MVP of tournament like 3 times in those West Coast tournaments. So he's pretty dominant. Joel, you're muted, but what do you got for Rookie of the Year?
By the way, Stevie, I was like, say it again for the people in the back. Sorry, I was muted because I know I cut you off and I don't got to talk when you guys are talking. I don't seem to learn that lesson very often. Hey, my boy and I, we discuss and the Rookie of the Year thing. It's tricky, man. It's tricky getting rookies. It's tough being a rookie. I don't care how many people say it's underhand. It's slow pitch. Oh yeah, why aren't you hitting 1,000? Very simple answer right there. There's a cat that hit 757. Now you got on base 757. He hit 57 home runs. And he was the Salt Lake City alternate. Carlos Abrigo.
He's not a rookie.
He's not a rookie.
Nah, he won A Worlds last year with straight play.
Okay, so I just never seen him anywhere, and I was just like, "Yo, who is this guy?" So he crushes it. It makes a lot of sense. He's a sophomore. So, but Valencia, his teammate, I guess he just rubbed off on him.
Valencia with the 771, he was a masher all year.
Yeah, no, he was crushing it all year long. We didn't play Cheap Suits, but the thing was, I like Cheap Suits. Didn't Cheap Suits at the beginning of the year wax a bunch of people in the duels, and then there's a point where I think they beat Juno also, and then everybody was like, oh snap, that was in Dallas I think, and the Cheap Suits always has. And I had that shortstop from Bay Area. Is that the one that you were talking about?
Kyle Hancock, yep.
Yo, he's legit. He's legit. He comes out hot. Those cats, and he's surrounded by a great crowd. One of my favorite players of all time, Bryson Baker, and he comes out there and it's like, yo, who wouldn't want to play for cats like that? Granados and all those freaking cats. And who else is there? My boy Zach Ross. And yo, it's like I like that. I like that whole. I like those rookies coming out of the A. I don't like it when they start so early, because then you'll be Overstreet. You'll be 2-0 at the Major World Series, not know what to do with yourself. So
Yeah, there's a huge rookie crop the last 2 years. Not so much this year, but we'll move on. The home run champion, of course, Tyler Irvine, 106 homers for Roofex. I think second year in a row he's won the home run title. On base champion, which to me is the most prestigious award, Kyle Pearson of Rismondo, 873 on base. He beats last year's record of 841, which he set. And I think if we added him up, he had more than half of his at-bats on baseball fields, which just makes that 873 unbelievable. So, Joel, we'll go quickly to Defensive Player of the Year. Who do you got this year?
Oh,
what do you think?
And
Besides
cherry on top with Kyle Pearson and Tyler Irvine. Yeah, they drop bombs and they hit. Did you see Tyler Irvine play second base this year?
Yeah.
Like, that was awesome.
Good,
I don't know about you, but that's wild. Defensive Player of the Year, all the middlemen. There's so many middlemen. Mr. Bazat. I don't know how many times you got to see it. But like the arm, the glove, the footwork, man, always in front of the ball gets you out. And then you got Daniel Caton's always just on it. Caton's always just a wild. And then Heath Barnes. And then every now and then they switch off. I can't. And then you throw around JoJo Bennett. He threw around everywhere. I saw him make 1,000 plays at the Smokies. It was incredible. And who's that shortstop for Sports Reach? That cat's pretty good. And then comes and then comes a bunch of other. There comes a bunch of other cats. There's Fry, Mr. Fry. Yo, always in the conversation. I can't stand how many times I see him play, and I'm like, damn, I gotta hit. I gotta go back to the lab and do my own thing now. I would say between me and Fry, honestly, we had the hardest style of brackets because like we don't have the firepower behind us like Rismondo and Sonny's does. But it's usually number 2, so I'll go Fry. That's what happens usually, right?
Jeremy Fry. Yeah, Fry was on my list too. He like broke his finger at the Smoky diving for a ball, and he didn't quite throw it accurately the rest of the season. So I'm going to leave him off. But Danny, who do you got for Defensive Player of the Year? It's a tough one.
Man, I'm going all the way in on this one because this man never gets talked about.
I know what you're going to say.
Chad Erickson. Chad Erickson, man, he's absolutely changed. He's elite defensively, and he's literally been the heart and soul of our defense. I mean, we finished 4th in points, and Chad was a huge part of that with the plays he was making in the outfield. Chad he's next level, elite center fielder. But yeah, I mean, the middle guys, I mean, obviously Joel's a damn good shortstop. He's made some amazing plays against us. JoJo against us in Evansville, man, made an absolutely incredible play. If you guys got time, go back and watch that stream of straight play Juno in Evansville and watch the play JoJo makes. It was the best play made against us all year. So, but my pick is Chad Erickson, man. I've seen what he's done for us firsthand. I can't go anywhere else besides there.
Yeah, no doubt. Steve, who you got over there for Sonny's? You got some candidates?
Yeah, well, I ain't gonna go with my guys, but if I'm gonna go with an infielder, it's gonna be Joel first and foremost. You know, even though me and Joel's friends and stuff, but you know, we're not playing now together or whatever. But Joel, I've seen it firsthand, year in, year out, and he don't get the recognition he deserves. That mug can play and glove it. His hitting's 1,000. You know, his hitting's great now. He's just a stud. I mean, I'm not saying this because he's on here. Joel's a stud. And but outfield, I mean, I'm gonna give Erickson the nod myself. You know, him and Joel center fielder are neck and neck. You know, I mean, both of them can absolutely go get it and hit it, and I mean, they're both top shelf defensive center fielders in the book. You know,
yeah.
I mean, I like, my center fielder goes to get it, never gets tired, but they got a little extra burst, but still can hit it a country mile though. But but defensively, them two can go get it.
Yeah,
but
probably
again,
another guy we're not talking about is Marshburn. Had a really good year at short. He kind of
just had that right here. I just had Marshburn and Austin Andrews, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, Austin Andrews always good. I'm going with a controversial pick because he didn't start every game. I'm going with Kyle Center, Rufex pitcher, 7-0 against Rismondo this year. He won both duels pitching most of the way because Mooch got hurt. Mooch has had a great year. Remember, he threw the no-hitter against Chief Suits at the Hall of Fame. I mean, his legend continues, but for me, Kyle Center defended the middle, and he is a reason Rufex won the computer rankings and they were right there in the points until the end. So that's my pick. I don't know if they'll consider him or not, considering he didn't start every game. But so the next three awards are two awards. They could go to the same guy, right? But I always say over the years, I think on-base champ, on-base champ, offensive player of the year, and MVP, I think should go to three different people. So we recognize three different people. Let's be honest. Pearson won the on-base. He could be, he's probably the offensive player of the year, and he could be considered the most valuable player. But I prefer to pick different guys. Steve, we'll go to you first. Who do you think should be the offensive player of the year and most valuable player?
Offense, I mean, I really can't go against KT. I mean, I really can't. Where you said half was on baseball, half fair, I think it was harder you thought baseball was harder. I think it's easier for him. The 300-foot mark's what's more impressive to me, him keeping it down and still hitting it backside and doing that. 300-foot mark's more for me for him. I mean, him keeping it in. Now, shoot. Overall MVP, much I hate. I'm not gonna say much as I hate to say it, but I'm gonna go with Sanders. 7-0. You 7-0 against Rismondo. He's beat us multiple times too. I mean, I can't knock him whether he started all the games or not. He's the big ones he performed in. So I can't take nothing away from him.
And traditionally, the most valuable player comes from the team that wins the conference championship. So again, Rufex won the regular season conference championship. Should the MVP come from that team?
It should be overall.
Or Rismondo, in a rare season, they take over the points during the conference championship tournament. So, who wins the conference? I don't even know.
MVP ought to be overall. It don't matter who, to me.
Just who's the best. Exactly. Yeah, Danny, what do you think about MVP and offensive player of the year?
Yeah, that's a hell of a call on Center as the MVP. To have a pitcher that puts up the kind of numbers he does, fills the middle, man, he's a game changer, absolute game changer. So, I mean, I'm not mad at that. It's so hard to go. When you see a guy hitting 873, though, man, that is insane. Yeah. But the criteria you put forth, I would go MVP if, Pearson's obviously the on-base champ. I would go MVP Center, and then I would go offensive MVP. I'd go, either Irvine or Flip. Flip is amazing too, man. I think he's the best
over 800.
Yeah, he's very, very. He's the toughest out in the game, I think, for us. So yeah, I'd probably go Irvine or Flip, one of those two.
Yeah, Flip was 809. Phil Matt was 808. And of course Pearson 873. Those are your top three hitters. Joel, what do you got for offensive MVP and most valuable player?
No, first I need to backpedal. We understand how freaking phenomenal Tyler Marshburn played this year. At short, he does a number every year, and it's then you gotta look over and like you gotta see like, am I insecure about this? And we're like, no, I can do it better. But like you see what he does, and you're like, damn, that's wild. Especially with the craziness that he has behind him and all the people gunning for him constantly. Now, offensive, I mean, 873, like, and he's playing first, and not no gimme whatever. Like he's out there to play, and he seems like, boy, it's so automatic. It's wild. It's how do you even get to that? I don't care, but offensive, I give it to Phil Matt because you got to come back after that. You can't just put everything on Kyle Pearson. And then Phil Matt is always in the middle. And every time he comes up to the bat with the bases loaded, I'm here like, he's going to mess up. Nope, grand slam. He hit like 4 against us in a row. And I'm like, I can't stand this guy. And then it was, what is it, MVP?
Yeah.
Oh, MVP, I'd give it to Kyle Pearson. Because who hits 873 after they just shattered their own record last year? I'm sorry. Like, that's crazy. That's insane. Like, that deserves all time. I remember there was a time in Chicago where we're like, damn, I haven't seen him get out. He must be hitting 900. And I checked. No, he's not hitting 900. He's hitting 1,000.
Yeah, he had 40-something on base successfully in a row, like 46 or some crazy number.
That's wild.
But,
what else is comparing? What in the game is comparing to? I get it. Kyle Center's killing it. I was going to give him the other thing that we're going to talk about. But the thing is that, like,
yeah,
one thing you said about baseball and softball is really hard to make contact. Softball, my mom can make contact with an Andy Purcell knuckleball. Is getting on base, is using the home runs wisely, is making sure the defense knows they're good. You got to turn them into Swiss cheese to make sure the rest of your lineup can get on base. Like, it's not that easy. Softball's not that easy. I don't know who keeps saying it's easy. Like, if it's go easy, go play E. Stop saying that. Not here. That's not what it is. Nothing here is easy.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I had Kyle Center as Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going to go with KP as MVP and batting title, even though I'd like to see those awards separate. And I think on base percentage is more prestigious than MVP. Maybe I'm an Eeyore, according to Dan Sanchez. Anyways, Offensive Player of the Year, I had Philip Washington or Phil Matt. I'm going to go with Philip just because he beat him by a point, 809 to 808, but he did it with less home runs. But Phil Matt was under the radar all year. Let's be honest. He had a monster season. So let's see. We wrap up the awards with the Dwayne Posovitz Umpire of the Year, the Rookie Umpire of the Year, and I made up an award, Pitcher of the Year. I tried to get it. I even offered to USSSA to buy the award each year myself and call it the Andy Purcell Pitcher of the Year, but they never went for it. That way you can separate defensive player from pitcher of the year, I think. So what do you guys think? We'll start with Steve. Dwayne Posovitz, Umpire of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and Pitcher of the Year.
Well, of course, I got to go with, Center's Pitcher of the Year.
Yeah.
Just for the offensive numbers and, defense. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know the rookie umpires.
I'm right with you, Steve. I don't know who the rookie umpires are, so we might just skip over that one. Apologies to all those umpires. I feel like we've seen everybody. I feel like all the umpires we've seen this year, we saw the previous year. So I don't know which ones are considered a rookie based on number of appearances.
And as far as the umpire, the umpires we had, it's pretty consistent. I mean, I Marshall Grissom, I thought was pretty solid myself. He called it fair as can be in my eyes. And let everybody know what was going on. He made calls were being made. He's made them. So.
Yeah. You said Mark, right?
No, Marshall Grissom.
Oh, Marshall Grissom, who did a lot of UIC work as well.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I don't know if we consider him as an umpire.
Yeah, he umpires a lot.
But in the games that we had, Marshall, I thought he was about as fair and consistent as you could get. You know.
Yeah, he's a true professional for sure.
Exactly. That's what I like about him.
Yeah, Danny, who you got for those three?
The one that I think stood out the most to me, just when you have him, I feel like you're going to get a fair shake for sure. Both teams will play by the same rules. Bruce, we had him last time we had him was in Evansville. I really enjoyed
Bruce Guillory.
Yeah, he's absolutely top notch. Controls the game well. If you have questions, he's always, he gives you he's super professional, and both teams play by the same rules. Very, very consistent. That's what I always say. I don't care if you have a big zone, a small zone, a good zone, a bad zone, as long as it's the same zone for both teams, I'm good. And he's very consistent.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I agree. Pitcher of the year, Kyle, center, or you have another pick? Danny, do you hear me?
Yeah, sorry about that. Pitcher of the year. Well, yeah, I mean, if you again go back to center, what he's done this year has been amazing. Always got to give one of my guys a tip of the cap, Josh Jones. I feel like he doesn't get the recognition he deserves. He's an absolute bulldog and leads us to many victories on his shoulders. But yeah, I think the one that gives us the most trouble actually is Pink, man. He is an absolute game changer, man. He is so tough. Like, he's the one that I feel like just changes the game when we play him. But center's done the most. He would be the pitcher of the year for sure.
Yeah, Pink probably with the injury, he's been fighting all year. I didn't even know it was a double hernia. I thought it was some sort of leg injury. But yeah, that's really slowed him down. Joel, what do you got for umpire of the year and pitcher of the year, even though it's not an award?
I'm going to go outside the box here.
Yeah.
I think all the umpires deserve way more power and way more recognition, way more participation, way more like awards and stuff like that. The amount of grown men that yell at these men that don't play the game, like they're the ex-husbands, like they're always wrong and nobody believes them. Like, no, they're on everything you say. It doesn't matter. Everyone hates you for every little call. Even me, when I tell them, hey, great job out there. It's crazy out there. I can see me making one play. I'll be like, what are you looking at? Like, the abuse that happens there. And then for them to stay calm and professional enough to not involve yourself in the game. That's really what umpiring is, right? Like, you don't involve yourself in the game. You don't you don't affect the game at all. Like, that's a wild stat. Like, that's incredible. Like, the amount of things. Thank God I'm not an umpire. Everybody gets thrown out almost every other game. You could blink at me the wrong way, you're out of here. So it's like, honestly, they all deserve a super. I want to know how to compensate them correctly. Like the fact that they choose to be out there, they love the game that much. Like, I just want to say my appreciation to all those cats that show up, the 8 a.m. games, the 3 a.m. games, the in-between, the bat, the hauling of the garbage can with the bats.
Yeah.
Yo, you got to be in physical shape now to haul bats around? Hell no. Yo, like, that's such a I feel every time they come out, I'm like, oh, bro, they're going to get yelled at for sure this game. I'm sorry, man. But, like, they just get my appreciation completely. Like, nobody specifically, because it's such a tough, and let's not forget those really, 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 really tough plays, the in-between, they're like, all right, here's the scenario. Like, who's out? Like, did we not just see Branch tag, miss, then everyone got safe, and then everybody, the umpires are the worst. Like, yo, crazy. It's crazy being an umpire. Pitcher of the year, that also is something so tricky because Pinkham's my favorite. I'm biased. That was the first person I ever faced in the conference ever. I faced Pinkham, and he's a nightmare. And I average a double play and a solo off of him. So he's just annoying, and he takes a beating. Travis Clark is always the golden standard. Everybody says how great he is, how great he is, how great it is. I don't want to harp on it anymore. Mason Farmer has taken quite the beating this year. But he comes out there and he plays and he puts it on him. And he's like, you think he weighs maybe 127 pounds and he's going to snap in half. But I don't know about you. He got hit by Bradley Jones. He came back. He started pitching again. I was like, oof. No, I take that personal away for you in the parking lot. And that's it. And he does it. He comes out there and he pitches and he does his thing. And then Cal Center, you guys have said it. How many more times? And you guys make it seem like this is the first year that he's killing it. He's been killing it with Chick-fil-A forever. He's been doing his thing. And your boy Jonesy over there at Straight Play, he's annoying as hell. But don't forget that little backup that you have, that bowling ball that you put on everybody, snapping everybody off. And then there's a similar cat in West Point that he looks like his doppelganger. He snapped all of us off in one game. And I was just like, all right, I guess we're all just turning into pitchers, I guess. Bobo and Blue, I'm biased, but I've never gotten so many grounders in my life. I've never been to a conference event where my pitcher got me 1.5 million grounders and I had 1.5 million putouts. It was unbelievable this whole year. Sport, don't forget Sport. He's a friggin' bulldog. That dude he's 2 feet and he's not afraid of you. He will look at you in the eye if he has to. He's not scared of nobody. You gotta love that. Who's the other animal that we have that I'm missing? I'm missing somebody here.
Do you have a pick?
Do I have a pick? Oh. I don't understand the criteria, but at the end of the day, I think who's earned it is between Travis like Center and Travis Clark, just solely on the. But like, there's no real.
Yeah.
That's got to be an award though, because then they just win defensive MVP every year. If you really, really think about it.
I wish it was a separate award, but we'll keep working on them.
I mean,
I think
make it the Andy Purcell Award, you know? Like,
exactly.
All time, nobody.
Yeah, I think you said it well with the umpires. They're all there for the right reason, which is really important to the game. I think Greg Jones, just on sheer quantity of work, could get it. Daryl, I like Daryl Rowe, his professionalism on the field. I have Kyle Center as pitcher of the year. We're going to wrap it up with segment 4, which is who will win each of the worlds, B through major. Danny, give us a shout out if you have any opinions on B through major, B to A, AA, and major.
Yeah, so for B, we actually took a B loss this year. First game of our year to the Ellie Real team, man. They're really good. Yeah. They are really good. They're sound. They do a lot of good things in the B. But B is just so damn unpredictable, man. You just never know. And you know, I'm gonna bring it back here West Coast. My man Dave at Cutthroat, he's had a winning program all the way up. He's won, I think he's got 3 rings now, 3 different divisions, I believe, E, D, and C. He's done it in Florida, and he's got some killers in that lineup. Eric Matto silently had, you know, former straight play guy, had a 786 year. Shout out to my boy E. And that's a hell of a season, and he's a pure hitter, so it's a legit 786. So I'm gonna take Cutthroat. I think they go ahead and win the B. For the A, I think the A and AA are so hard to call. You know, I think with Bay Area, you know, gets overlooked because they've had some like ugly losses. But if you kind of look into their season, they've had some big wins too. They've swung above their weight, and that's something I always look at with the B and A divisions, like which teams have been able to swing above their weight a little bit. I mean, obviously you want to see what they do against their division too, but you know, what's the ceiling on this team? Like where could they get to when they're firing on all cylinders? And Bay Area is one of those teams that has another level, and they brought it in, you know, Chen Granados, who's, man, he's been a champion his whole life. All that dude does is win in his career. So I think, you know, I like Bay Area. I think LSR and I-57 got the highest ceiling. LSR's been a little bit inconsistent. They had some big wins at the beginning of the year. I think I-57 has been the most consistent. Prime time's always good, but I'm staying West Coast. I'm gonna go Bay Area, and my boy Chant and Joey bring it back over here to the West Coast. The AA, you know, I'm not gonna pick that one. I'm just gonna say this: those A teams that I mentioned can beat any one of us on any given Saturday, hands down. If you look ahead in that bracket, you will get beat in the double A. There's no two ways about it. West Point and Classic, people act like they're not there. Classic shows up every October, and if you overlook them, they will beat your ass. West Point may not have had the year that they've had, but they're as good as any double A team. Anybody in the double A division, Joel's going to tell you as well. We know they are. This division is so even across the board. It's so hard to pick. You got Nitro. I love Sport. He's the champion. He's done nothing but win. I like our guy. And then you got Sports Reach, who's giving us hell all year. Bobo's been just I don't even know what to do with that guy, especially after Evansville. And then JBL with all those vets, like they're going to be a tough out in October. They just got done, getting double dipped by Roofex last year, so they got something to prove. Man, oh man, that double A is going to be fireworks. If I wasn't there on the field, I'd definitely be watching with a bowl of popcorn, because that's going to be a really fun division to watch. Major, obviously it's Resi. Resi's built for that Saturday in October. That's what they're built for. But they're saying that this is like going to be the heaviest hurricane year on record, and you give any conditions, and Roofex quickly becomes the favorite. Not saying they need that to beat them, but you're playing you're playing by the Resmondo code there. But man, Roofex has done so much this year, and they've done it their way, and there's just something about them. Like I've watched a lot of what they do. I really admire the way they just know who they are, and they don't try to beat you at Resmondo's game. They try to beat you at their game, and I like that a lot. And so I'm going with the shocker. I'm going to say Roofex takes it.
Nice. I like the pick. See, I a little heavy on the West Coast on the other ones, maybe. Steve, I know you might have to go back to work here. What do you got for your picks? If you have to go ahead. After your pick.
The B, Eli, I think's really got a good shot. But there's a local team from Tennessee called Rivals. They just won the WSL in Florida. Both of them, they won the C and the B. Them boys got a great defense, and they hit and hit and hit. And I give them there. Then of course you always got Eagle Paint. You just according to what Eagle Paint shows up. But if I'm gonna go anybody, I'm gonna go Eli. I think we'll win it, but I think Rivals will be right there with it. And the A, the A, that's gonna be a good one to watch too, I think. But I'm gonna go LSR just for the simple fact is, I think they got a lot of pop. When you get them back there and you get them on the big fields, I think they can out-homer a lot of teams and everything myself. Defense is not bad, but the double A, I'm like you can watch Danny. I mean, you can sit there and watch that popcorn and be loving every day game that's being played, because it's going to be a good one. I mean, a really good one. Yeah. And but it's going to come down to three teams in my book, and that's going to be Sports Reach, Danny and them. I think JBL. I mean, I really do. I think JBL's going to be in there. I know Martell's going to kick my hind end, but if they get on a roll, they're going to beat people to death, but just because they got more power than anybody too. I better not forget Martell and them. It'll come down to them four right there in my book. The major, I'm not even going to pick the major because I don't want to put the hoodoo juice on anybody, of course, Helmer and them's going to be the favorite, But if it comes down to conditions, defensive wise, ain't nobody better in defense in the major than Roofex. I don't care. I'll tell anybody and everybody that they got the best defense, infield and outfield. They ain't got one liability on defense, and that's it. But to me, whoever hits the home runs and catches the routine balls is going to win it. Everything.
For sure.
But
I appreciate you coming.
So nice to watch.
I'm just glad you guys forced that if game last year, because that crowd was not ready to go home. And no matter what, if Resmondo wins it, we got to have an if game. Because
if they would have let me be visitors like I wanted to,
Yeah.
I think we might have changed, but I got
changed it.
outvoted.
Yeah, so Sonny's for sure has a puncher's chance. If you got to go, Steve, go ahead. But appreciate you coming in.
Danny, appreciate you. Joel, thank you.
Yeah.
DW, thank y'all
Steve.
guys.
Yeah.
Y'all take care.
Hey, Joel, what do you got for major? B through major.
Well, we only played. I think we only played one B team, and I think it was Ellie, and we almost lost, and that was scary. And then Ellie beat a bunch of people that we seen. We seen Ellie beat a bunch of people, and we're like, "Who are those guys?" Like, I don't know anybody on that team, and I'm just like, "All right, fine." It's because I don't have enough information on the B. The A is always bananas. Why is the A always crazy? Like it goes Bay Area, like it goes Beaches, Primetime, LSR. Like anybody can get it at any moment. Do I have a favorite? I'm gonna lean on Beaches because I know most of those guys. But then Sean Jones, who I've been playing with forever, Jonesy himself on Bay Area, dog, that old man don't stop. Like, try to mess with him along with his all-star squad behind him. And then Primetime, I think you want to talk about pitcher of the year, bro. Rod, how much more golden standard you want of a leader? Like, even the fastest, the hardest hitting, and he's a bulldog. He pitches every single game. He don't stop. That knuckleball don't stop. Like bro, Roderick's the man. Like, I keep forgetting we should praise him every friggin' episode. And then LSR. Like, what a fun little squad. The Brady, the Frank, the Rayner, those cats, they mash. Yo, they put us out. And then they have that lefty, that catcher lefty with that wavy hair that he doesn't stop. He's automatic. Yo, it's such a toss-up. I think it'll come down to Beaches and Bay Area. If not those two, like, it's one of those. I think we all get it. AA is the hardest. I don't care. Because the major, as long as you out-homer the other, it's just like he said, you got to out-homer the other cat in the major. It's not easy. Simple game. Out-homer the other person. And make the routine plays. That's it. AA is the hardest because even if you throw the major teams in there, I'm probably certain a major team wouldn't win that. Because I got the A teams that now are just like, well, I'm mad I didn't win the A. I win the AA. Do we not remember S&I from 2019? They went like 0-177, and then they smacked everybody at the AA. Hilarious. Shout out to my boy Baby Lee. And then all of a sudden we come around, and it's like Nitro Circus and JBL. Oh, my God. After last year, bro, they're coming in hot. Nitro Circus, unstoppable like usual. Bro, we have managed to be like, yo, we're in it to win it. I still put money on me. You got to win 5. You got to keep it simple. You got to bring it down. I put us. And straight play. How do you guys always get to the top of the list? And everybody's just like, yeah, but that's just straight play. How did you guys do that? Like, you like, people forget that you're there. Like, I'm like, I wish I could have that invisibility cloak so people don't take me seriously. So I gotta just wax them. Because Tyler Diggins, Bud DeZern, Roxby, like, yo, you got champs there. Roxby has 3 AAs. What? Champion. Say what you will about him. That dude's a champ. Like, Stevie Hildebran said he didn't want to put the Hooju juice on somebody. And then the major is so crazy. Because I saw Juno put 30 runs on Resmondo in the first inning. I've never been put 30 runs on in my life, any time in my life ever. And they came back and they beat him.
Run rolled them too, I think, right?
Bro.
Yeah. Twice.
Like, how do you, like, at that point, you have to accept that there's a notion of softball that you are not in control of. That there really is a softball gods, that there really is some type of luck. There is something there. Somebody has to mess up the bracket somehow for you to outdo Resmont. How do you create? Because I think Sonny's has the power. The thing is, I think they need the focus. And then Juno needs to show up. Rufex has the focus, and I think they have the capability, but I still think Resmondo is just, they're just too built. There's just too experienced. There's too many times I've seen multiple times Greg Cannell run rule, home run, walk off over center field. Not just once. Like it, oh my God, the experience just goes in their favor too many times. So yeah.
So you like Resmondo, Sports Reach, I-57, and
Ellie.
Ely Real?
Yeah.
Ely Real?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, just to wrap it up, my picks, I always go with the math because traditionally the team that wins each world has twice as many wins as they do losses in their class. So Ely Real 2-0 in class, GTL 3-0, Thunder 3-0. Who do I go with? I'm kind of rooting for Ely Real because they have a true B team. Like they don't have chips. Mm-hmm. But I think Thunder, if Danny Evans shows up at pitcher. I forgot to mention Thunder. Yeah, if Danny Evans shows up at pitcher, I think Thunder wins it. I'm kind of rooting for Ely Real because they did it the right way, in my opinion. A division, there's a team 10-5 in division. That's I-57, and their prime time's 10-5 in division. Bay Area obviously has the roster. LSR had the beginning of the season where they just absolutely dominated, and they've kind of rode that the whole year, and they haven't been playing well since. So I'm going with I-57 to win the A. Double A, there's only one team that had more wins or twice as many wins as losses. That's Straight Play. Straight Play had a 2.61 computer ranking, which is unbelievable for the Double A division. Oftentimes, you would confuse them with a major team. Like they look like they played like a major team. I'm going with Straight Play in the Double A. And then the major. The major, something has to give, right? Not one major team had a winning record against other major teams except for Rufex. They were 17-4 against major teams, 7-0 against Resmondo. Resmondo was 7-8 against major teams on the year. Sonny 7-11, Juno 1-9. How can you be 1-9 and win the Major World Series where you're going to have to win at least 2 or 3 games against major teams? I don't think you can do it. I'm going to go with Rufex to win 17-4. Someone's got to beat them twice, but baseball fields aren't their strength, right? They lose to Double A teams on baseball fields. So they got to get there, but I'm still picking Rufex because of the math. I would not put money on them. I would put my money on Resmondo. If you told me I got to put money on a team, I'm putting it on Resmondo, but my pick for the show is Rufex. So there. How's that for hedging your bet?
I like that. That's for the show.
That's fair.
For the show. It's too tricky. It's so tricky. Something has to give in the, and I know you like the math, and I know you like the stats, and I know you like the concrete evidence, but something in there has to give. Like
if Mother Nature comes, you never know. Mother Nature changes the equation real quick, and there's systems building in the Atlantic right now.
Yeah,
I'm just hoping they get there after the Double A.
What do you think if the wind blows towards the first base dugout like it did a lot of years at Space Coast? I think Rufex has a legit chance. If it blows like it did last year or stops like it did in the evenings, you can't defend a ball over the fence, right?
Yeah, as soon as it becomes to where it's just not automatic. Like, right, in normal conditions, 1 through 11 in Resi's lineup, damn near automatic. Most of those guys, automatic. Like, they don't have to think. You got to get a lead and you got to get pressure on them. They have to be thinking about their at-bats. They have to be thinking about it in some form or fashion. They're just blowing them out, ball game. But if you get the wind blowing in or something along those lines or you get, a wind blowing in even just to start it, just to get some, just for them to think a little bit and you can get a little bit of a lead, it'll change the whole equation, and I think that's really the hope, I mean, otherwise you know, you're not going to beat them at that game. You know, you can't beat them at that game. They're built for that exact day. Saturday, October, they're built for that, you know. So, but I think it's Florida and it's hurricane season, and it's not crazy to think, you know, we might get wind blowing in to the first base dugout. And if that happens, I think Rufex becomes a big favorite. Resmondo's a big favorite right now. Any conditions, I think Rufex becomes a big favorite. And so, you know,
Rufex can't play like they did at the conference championship, though. They were trying to blow it out, and they got beat by Dirty Vegas. What's up, Joe?
I think I heard this thing where it's like the best team all year usually doesn't win the championship.
Right.
And it's like, and then I'm like, but Resmondo, and honestly, that still holds up because that Dan Smith year, Resmondo waxed MPT. And then Resmondo had to double dip, bad draw. And then I think it was last year, the first time that they were like, for sure, the number one, and they're just going to like wax everybody. And like, what was that other year? Was Juno the number one seed that year?
No, Juno wasn't the number one, but that was the bad ball year. They ended up winning the major.
Yeah. Ryan Harvey's warning track power won the game. Like, it was unbelievable. And it was like, those balls were atrocious. Maybe we should just do that. We just deflate the balls, you know, all over again. You know, make it even. But it's and it's such a tricky time too, because like by this point, like if you're not used to the softball, or like if you're a little over it by this point in the season, most dudes, you can see it in their eyes, they're softballed out. And I'm here like, this is not the time to be softballed out.
Or, Joel, or they're thinking about next year, too. That's a big thing this time of the year. And that's one of the things I can't stand about the way everything works in the conference is that, like, a lot of these guys, you know, they're having to deal with who they're playing for next year. Like, teams are contacting players to talk about next. And it's like, it's so bad etiquette to me. Like, I mean, it's just such a grimy feeling, like reaching out and contacting a guy on another team and asking him to not only come play for your team next year, but replace a guy that you're trying to win a championship with this year. Like, that is just asinine to be doing that, you know, to be, you know, like, that's one of the things that you know, I like about the way we've done straight play is that we've never turned over our roster. Like, we've always made adjustments. You have to when you're going up, but you know, to be talking to guys about replacing a guy on your current team and then expecting to go out and win the championship like that, and you know, the softball world, how it goes. Rumors spread like shit gets around. And
that's why Resmondo teams over the years have a little bit of an advantage, because a lot of those guys know they're coming back to Resmondo.
100%.
There's no question that's important, and it could be on the minds of teams that are playing against them. Hopefully everyone can set it aside, and I'm asking everybody on message boards, Facebook, hold off till after the major, then talk about 2025. We'll have our normal Wednesday show after the major to talk about rumors for 2025. Respect the sponsors for this year, because they've put in a lot of money and effort into these teams.
Yeah, but I think if we could get the game there, I mean, I don't think you'll ever be able to fully stop it, but I know there's certain sponsors out there that are making very specific offers and very you know nice offers to hear you know right now. And it's like, aren't you trying to win? I mean, do you have any faith in the guys that are currently taking the field for you? Because it's just bad faith to be doing that to the guys you have on your squad. And I mean, how can you expect those guys to play for you, play hard for you? Or how can you expect the guys next year to play hard for you when you're doing that to the guys you got on your team this year? It's just it's crazy.
It's not a situation that's easy. But we went a little long with the show. To wrap it up, Joel, give us your wrap up. And Danny, you never did tell us what straight play is and how you're involved in it. But go ahead, Joel.
Yo, shout out to Corny at DeMarini for believing in me and helping me with absolutely everything I ever needed. Shout out to all the boys at Sports Reach. Yo, we battled all year round. Great job, guys. To everybody who's handled all their personal issues and all that. And even the dudes that we did play. Like, yo, I'm so glad that this year was like one of the few times where we could fight it out on the field.
Uh-oh.
Hey, great job, fist bump. Like, hey, good job. I don't want to fight you later. I don't want to do something dirty to you. I don't want to, like, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not gonna lie. I used to do that. I used to hold it, used to simmer on it, used to bring it back, and like, yo, I'm glad that it's like a safer spot where you could bring all of your tenacity and all your competition in between the game, in between the lines, and then leave it there. Like, it's nice. I like that. I kind of like the little politics and the little schemy, grindy things because, like, those dudes out themselves. Those dudes out themselves. You don't want to gel with your squad. You want to just buy your wins. You want to cut. You want to shortcut. You want to do all those things. You gotta lose. You gotta lose, and you gotta have those painful ass losses. You gotta have those L. Wanger losing the glove over the fence type losses to come back and be a champ, like how they did. No, you gotta be. You gotta go through that emotional like turmoil to become a champion.
Great one.
Yep, and that's why the USSSA championship is the most prestigious. Danny, you're going to tell us what straight play is and how you're involved. And there's a comment on the Facebook comments from, it looks like Mark Valencia, so maybe Matthew Valencia's dad or brother or something. How can we overlook Cheap Suits, who's handled Bay Area all year? That's true. They have won 3 tournaments, so they're definitely a factor in the A. But go ahead,
I mean, Cheap Suits' success has been. Look, I was actually thinking about Cheap Suits after I went through the A. So Cheap Suits has like real champions on that roster. Nico Guillen, Carlos Abrigo, my brothers. We won one together last year. Like, those guys are going to show up and they're going to bring it. So I definitely am not overlooking Cheap Suits, but I think the argument against them is a lot of their success has been in these West Coast events on 300-foot fields. We all know Florida's a whole different ballgame. So Cheap Suits is going to be there, and I didn't overlook them. I apologize for that because that was in my mind. As far as Straight Play. Straight Play is the #1 AA team in the conference computer point rankings. That's pretty much
the business.
We'll go with that. As far as shout outs, Straight Play all day. Shout outs to JJ with Rebel, Cholo, and My Idol Jack, and LA Empire for all the help, and all the when we do this, man, with the sponsors like with JJ and Cholo, I'm blessed to have partners that have been there through the bad times and keep their word, man. Like, it's so hard to find guys you could trust in this game, and as far as from a sponsorship side of things, like, you hear so many different wild and outlandish things from things that other sponsors are offering players, and other sponsors what they'll bring, and it's so hard to sift through all the all the noise and find the people you can trust, and I'm blessed to have built the partnership JJ and I built last year. Going into last year, we were building a team together, and it didn't end up working out. But we went into the season separate, but we were always working together, talking throughout the year, and we always had this vision, and he's just, man, he's a hell of a dude, and as good as they come, and so we, going into last year, we had this plan, and so big shout out to him. Like I said, LA Empire. Anybody looking to get uniforms or apparel or anything like that, check out your boy on the West Coast with LA Empire, man. He's got the dopest designs in the game. He's up and coming. Straight Play aligned, and like I said, Straight Play all day, man. We're coming forward in Florida. We're excited to get out there. I know the boys are ready. I can't wait. Can't wait to get out there and watch these boys compete. And Joel, good luck to you, my brother.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, guys, and good luck at Worlds, and we'll get you guys in the booth at the major for I need some color analysts at the major, so we'll get you back in the booth. And Straight Play winning AA last year and the AA this year would be impressive, right? And then you could take your swing at the major too, because you guys play like a major team sometimes.
If we win the AA, I think that is definitely the plan. If we, like the way I want to conquer every division, the side is on the AA, so that's what we're going to focus on. But I can see that happening.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Everybody at home for watching. You can check this out on YouTube and Facebook afterwards if you didn't see it live. And we'll see you guys in Florida. Hopefully no hurricanes.
Thanks. Take care, DW.